Cersei's reasoning for not wanting him dead?
So
The
part of it
war?
is strategic,
Yeah,
knowing that he's more valuable alive than he is dead to stop
right.
Robb and the North from coming
Hmm.
as they are. That's a big reason. But yeah, to keep the peace. She just wants power more than blood. Whereas
Yeah.
her son, on the other hand, is a
He's just like,
psychopath.
I want his head, he says. So, like, that's a bit much.
Even our good friend Lord Varys was trying to get Joffrey to stop.
Everybody wanted him not to do it except himself, I
Except the
him,
guess.
crowd.
well, himself, the crowd, and frickin' Lord Pycelle up there. But
Is that the old guy?
yes, the frickin' old man, idiot.
We almost had that moment where it was like, oh, cool, he can go hang out with Jon up at the wall. They're gonna send him there.
Well, a lot of your prediction came pretty close to true, Tyler. Did go back on his word, and Sansa was there to see it happen before her eyes. I guess we'll just have to see what way that stirs her. She was obviously quite upset with what happened.
It's gonna do nothing in the long run for her. She's gonna be like, "Oh, I understand, Joffrey." Oh.
Yeah, probably.
He's gonna be her sun and stars, like stupid ass Dothraki stuff. Like, oh yeah, we didn't even get to see what happened with the demonic bellowing.
We did
I guess
not.
that's episode
That'll
10.
be
What
next
happened
episode.
over there? But our first solidifying moment of Game of Thrones, where our presumed main character of season 1 is killed in season 1. So, Ned Stark, R.I.P., pour one out for our honorable king.
No.
Our very naive king.
Our naive, honorable Ned. We started off this episode with Varys coming down, trying to convince him to do what he ultimately did do, and that was to confess and just proclaim Joffrey as your king. And Cersei has convinced, Sansa has convinced Joffrey to let you take the black and go to the wall and think of your kids if your life doesn't mean enough to you. As I said, I think him spotting Arya as he entered and her being there kind of was the tipping point. I don't think Ned had fully made up his mind to do what he did until he saw her. And it still turned out.
Didn't matter.
Didn't matter. Joffrey is out of his mind. Joffrey is nuts. Both were thinking maybe Ned would not come forward and lie and confess his treason, but if he did, that Joffrey would not keep his word. So, how are you feeling about that whole situation, Tyler?
Like, I'm upset that Ned died. If that's what you're asking. I did like him a lot as a character, even if he was very flawed in the sense that he had the best interest at heart, but it seemed to have always backfired on him in that sense. You know, when it came to Robert Baratheon and his kids and all the stuff he's done throughout the show, it seems like everything's really backfired on him because he actually has a heart. And now look where he is now. He's headless and dead.
He's not cut out to play the Game of Thrones.
No, I mean, he was doing well. He was doing well in the first half, as they say, and it didn't work out too much in the second half. I mean, I'm upset about it because, I mean, I really liked him a lot as a character, and I think we all kind of expected, I mean, at least I guess I should say Alyssa and I, just because I know you've already seen the series, that, expected that, he wasn't going to have the best outcome for him no matter what his decision was, and I guess we got the best of all decisions in this case, because now he's dead.
Alyssa?
I'm a little less broken up about it all than Tyler. Ned was all right, but he was a very kind of frustrating and borderline boring character for the last like 4 episodes or so, maybe 5 episodes. So I'm like, like we knew it was coming, and he hasn't been a particularly good character for a little while here.
I disagree, but if you say so.
Would have preferred other people to die. I wish
I don't know.
the guy
Maybe
didn't
is there?
stop Arya. I wanted to see her go up and just stab Joffrey like she did the little stable boy. And if that was the end of Arya, then I would have been a little upset. But I would have understood because she would have gone out actually like doing
Hero.
something.
Of course, from the book itself, but also in the series. It at least was quite the shock because typically in
Because you didn't know it was
fantasy,
Sean Bean.
yeah, this was earlier in Sean Bean's death track record. This was part of it. But obviously in fantasy, the noble hero does not usually when he
I
does
know.
he doesn't do the noble thing in the end. He does, but he doesn't. He does it for his family, but also goes against his own moral code and unfortunately dies labeled a traitor when in fact we all know he was not a traitor to Robert Baratheon and the throne. But I think a lot of people find that very sad that he died lying and still getting killed.
You think he would have? You think he would have once he knew he was gonna die, he should have started throwing out some secrets that he knew
Yelling out the
about.
truth.
Yeah, I know. Why didn't yeah?
Yeah, just
Like,
scream the truth, Ned. It's over.
Well, if I'm dying anyway, I may as well tell everybody that Joffrey's not really a Baratheon.
Yeah. He did send off that one raven, so one person knows, and that's Stannis Baratheon, who he sent that raven to before he was apprehended. But didn't see anything of Sansa or Arya, obviously, up until that moment started taking place. But Catelyn and Robb continued to make their way south. They had to pass through Walder Frey's twin towers, if you will, the twins. And the only way across that river is to go through his gates. So Catelyn meets up with Walder Frey to try to negotiate, and she ends up saying that Robb will take one of his sons as a squire, soon to be knight. Arya will take one of his sons in marriage, and Robb will take one of his daughters once the fighting is done. Robb was not so happy, but ultimately consented so that they could pass.
Yeah, he was just he just stormed off after agreeing to a consent.
But it's also very interesting because Arya was not even mentioned in that letter of that she got. So Catelyn could have been missing off a daughter she no longer has. How did you like your introduction to Walder Frey, Alyssa?
he was interesting. I'm not quite a fan of his, I guess I would say. Yeah, I mean, once Tyler said that he was Filch from Harry Potter, I could not picture that. So I was just thinking about him
Whoops.
and just like looking for Mrs. Norris like in the corners like the whole time. I don't think those propositions or that deal is gonna necessarily work out. I guess the Squire, who cares, and Robb, he's gonna be all. Robb's probably gonna die anyway, so he's not gonna have to marry it. And I don't think Arya is gonna be pleased when she finds out, and she'll either try to stab the guy or just like run off and like be her own like low queen somewhere, like leading shadow cats around or something.
Tyler, how did you feel about our intro to Walder Frey and the deal made?
Yeah, I mean David Bradley. I mean, I love the guy, as Alyssa mentioned, his character from Harry Potter. Yeah, in this at least, definitely a very different character. Much creepier old man vibes from this character. Not a big fan. Same with Alyssa. I don't know. I don't really think his deal is gonna matter in the long run as far as the stipulations when it comes to Robb and Arya. I feel like that stuff is kind of gonna end up being voided down the line anyway. If it doesn't, I mean, I'm curious to see what's gonna go on with this Squire, Arya's, I guess, future husband, and hopefully Robb gets the pretty one
The
because I
one
know that was
pretty
one.
one.
Well, yeah, that's why I was like, are they at least attractive or appealing? And they're like, one of them was. So it's like, all right, well, hopefully he gets the attractive one.
Then on the other side of this war with the Lannister army, we meet Shae, a prostitute that Bronn finds for Tyrion, and Tyrion makes a deal with her to kind of keep her around as his own personal companion, if you will. And they play an interesting little drinking game where Tyrion was once married, but we also find out it was all just like this weird coup where Jamie hired a prostitute and then his dad made him sit there and watch as she had sex with all of his guardsmen in front of him.
Weird family.
So that's a
I
little
guess
bit
that
of
explains why Tyrion's so messed up.
yeah, a little bit of backstory, I guess, about the way Tyrion is, as well as the kind of father Tywin is.
We already knew Jaime was an asshole, so
Yeah.
A little extra meat to Tywin there. Bronn, as we all said, got some nice moments. He did not die in the battle, thankfully. He survived.
I
and he has
agree.
some
He's
really
great.
good facial reactions. So
Yes. So, how did you all feel about our introduction to Shae and that whole scenario, Alyssa?
I like her. Tyrion's always been kind of the sarcastic, witty character, and like she can really like give it back to him. Like she can really jab back and be just as kind of sharp tongued, I guess. All she said was she's foreign, she was being very vague about her background. And so she's clearly of some higher level family, probably from some royal family or something, and either she ran away or she was captured and taken someplace. But I liked her. I thought she was interesting. I know Tyler was disappointed he didn't get to see the battle, but
It would have been cool.
we knew that it had to make it through alive somehow, and that was probably the only way he was going to manage it. And he stayed low. I mean, he did what Ron suggested.
Stayed even lower than originally intended. All right, Tyler, how'd you feel about that whole scenario and our intro to Shae over there?
Shae is an interesting addition to the cast. She definitely does seem more educated than some of the other characters of that type that we've seen so far. I also agree that she probably has some sort of importance. Definitely seems like a higher class escort. I liked her banter with Tyrion. I think that they're gonna have. I mean, depending on how long I guess they're around, I think they'll have many more interesting banters back and forth. And of course, I love Tyrion and all of his banter with Bronn as well, because I think they're just a very intriguing, hilarious duo. And then you add in Shae's banter to the mix, and it's really entertaining. As far as the battle and all that stuff goes, of course, I am disappointed because I wanted to see the actual battle, but I don't know. Maybe it was just too expensive, or whatever you want to call it for HBO. But
Season
I
one, they
guess
didn't have that budget in season one.
yeah, that's what I mean. I
Later
guess
on, though, they get
I
that
mean,
budget.
I've heard they've spent quite a lot of money on this show, but I guess maybe earlier on when they didn't have as much faith, the first season, I did think it was kind of funny the way that Tyrion went out and was knocked out as they stampeded into battle. But at least he survived, and Bronn survived, even if a lot of other people, I guess, from Robb's army didn't survive.
His mountain men were a little overly zealous to get into action, just trampled over the half man they were just cheering for.
Yeah, Tyrion was great. I think Tyrion had some really great development just because I guess I didn't mention his whole story with Jaime and his dad and all that, but I thought that was a really good scene for Tyrion, giving us more of his backstory and the stuff with the I guess his first wife was pretty messed up in my
No,
opinion.
yeah. And we saw why Robb ended up letting that little Lannister spy go at the end of the last episode. Because he was going to try to pull like a little bit of a switch and bait. So he only sent 2,000 men over there instead of his full 20 to attack Tywin's camp. And instead ambushed Jaime's little camp off to the other side, and in the process took Jaime Lannister as their hostage. Now, the Starks, they lost Tyrion, but especially in their father and Cersei's eyes, they gained a more valuable hostage in snatching up Jaime Lannister. We also get that moment of Robb kind of having a little bit of remorse because effectively he realized that he just sent 2,000 people to their death. Yeah, how did you feel about Robb kind of showing his little plan and gaining Jaime as his prisoner? Taylor.
Well, I thought that it was actually a pretty good episode for Rob because it kind of just showed how strategic he actually can be. We're getting a little bit more of I guess you could say his character development and personality in this episode. You can definitely tell some of his compassion. You can definitely tell he's related to Ned in that case because he's very compassionate about even though they lost 2,000 people, that's still a whole lot of people. But the plan was really interesting. Of course, just as I said with the previous battle with Tyrion and all that. I would have liked to have seen that battle. I think that would have been really cool to actually see them overwhelm Jaime and his camp and capture him and then bring it back to them. But even still, I'm intrigued to see what they're going to do with Jaime as a prisoner. obviously he's a terrible character in the sense that I don't like him, and he's a very bad villain character. So I don't know if he'll die necessarily. It's kind of early on in the series. Just rough him up a bit, and do something, get something out of it.
Right, Alyssa?
I agree with Tyler about seeing Robb's sort of strategy here. You could tell with the last episode when he did send the spy off that he has a bit of strategy that maybe other people in that position don't typically have. I mean, I like that. I appreciated that. And I'm glad that Jamie's in kind of a not so good position now because, again, I hate him as well. So
Tywin, I think,
it'd be
just
nice.
underestimated Robb. I think Tywin is good in battle, but I think he was underestimating what Robb was doing. So
That's what it seems
Right.
like.
moving along up north, we did get quite a bit of time up at the Wall this episode. Didn't see Winterfell, but we did see the
Unfortunately.
Wall.
Yeah, the wall, the good old wall.
So, Lord Commander Mormont has obviously taken a liking to Jon and gave him his family sword. So their house is like a bear. So we replaced that little bear with a wolf for Jon and his house.
And a little white
Yes.
one too for
Yes,
Chris.
a little white wolf on the
It's
end.
perfect.
So, Jon, moving up in the ranks a little bit, at least amongst the eyes of his peers and the Lord Commander up there.
Yeah, they were all excited about him getting that
They
new
were.
sword. They're like, yeah, great job. You
hyped.
got some old guy's sword.
They were hyped. They were like, I want to show us the sword, and they were
Yeah.
just playing with it.
But then Samwell said that Robb Stark was heading south to attack King's Landing and Joffrey, which put some conflict into Lil Jon's heart about if he should ditch the Night's Watch and go help Robb. So Master Aemon talks to him, and that is when we learned that Aemon was a Targaryen and actually passed up the opportunity to sit on that Iron Throne himself. So how did you feel about everything that happened up at the Wall this episode, Alyssa?
I was not impressed, but I never am at the Wall unless the elevator's involved.
And no ghost
I
this
don't.
time. No
I
little
know,
ghost.
like the sword was okay. I mean, I wasn't quite as psyched about it as all the guys up there at the Wall were,
Yeah.
but I mean, it was kind of cool.
cool
I'm sure
sword.
he's going to use it for however long. Unfortunately, I assume Jon Snow is going to be a fairly long-lasting character in the show because he was the only one whose name I knew. So that was okay. Sam was a little mopey, like whiny guy. I hated him again. I was not expecting that there was another Targaryen and that guy was actually him. And I like that they're like chucking meat cubes at crows. That was kind of cool.
Like,
So
oh,
I mean, that I guess
what kind of
that
meat
was
is this
the
that you're
most
feeding the
interesting
crows?
this
Not
episode for me.
endeared to like brooding Jon,
Brooding
Alyssa.
Jon and Sam. No, he's like so like you said. You like him because he's pouty. I'm like, oh, he's just like
He's very,
little
he's very
whiny,
pouty.
angsty.
Nobody pouts quite as good as Jon Snow.
That's his only face, though.
Sad and he's happy sometimes.
Yeah, Sam is better when he's happy. He's not as good pouty, but Jon, that's like his bread and butter. It's a little pout face.
Yeah.
Tyler, how'd you feel about the Wall?
Yeah, I thought the wall was fine. I mean, not too much happened at the wall. I mean, not very much usually ever it does happen at the wall, if I'm being honest. But I mean, the sword is awesome. I like a cool sword here and there. Like, I'm excited to see him use it at some point, hopefully, maybe in the near future, depending on what, I guess, Jon ever ends up choosing. Because obviously, the man he was speaking to kind of made it alluded to the whole, make your choice and live with it kind of thing. Possibly with him knowing that Robb's going in the battle, and maybe if he gets wind of also Ned dying, maybe he'll go and join a battle and just retaliate in some shape or form, even if he is the bastard of the family. It was also interesting to see there was another Targaryen, very old and he's blind, but at least it's nice to see that he's, I guess, around and alive. Hopefully, we'll see him reunite with Daenerys.
But speaking of the only other Targaryen out there across that narrow sea, we see Khal Drogo is not doing so well. We saw that like home remedy thing that the witch had put on the wound. Clearly didn't seem to work. So he was in some bad shape, fell off his horse, and homeboy, one of his riders, just going ham right from the get-go. Jorah takes that thing off of him and was like, oh, well, this is really bad, and he's going to die by the end of the day. So
Yeah, literally.
let's go, Daenerys. Let's get you out of here. This is not like Westeros. The throne doesn't just pass down a line of succession. The Dothraki, it's all about power. So once the call dies, there's a big battle, and whoever wins the battle becomes the new call. But like last week, Dany stood up again and said, no, I am the blood of the dragon. I've never been nothing. But she calls for Miri Mazdur, the witch from the last episode, says, I can perform blood magic, but we have to sacrifice a life in order to gain one. Enter horse.
At least it was a horse, right? You know.
Who is executed, tells everyone to get out of the thing, and nobody should enter. Once we get outside, Homeboy pushes Daenerys, she lands on her stomach, and we see later that helps to induce birth. Jorah goes to battle with this rider, and yay, armor! Because if it weren't for that armor, Jorah would have died. Instead, though, he gets the final blow and kill. And we hear that none of the midwives will come and help Daenerys. So they take her into that tent to have the witch possibly deliver her child. So, Tyler, how did you feel about everything with Daenerys?
It does seem like with every episode that Daenerys is becoming more and more confident in herself, which is a plus. Just because you know where we started in the series at the beginning of the season, she wasn't very interesting. Didn't really seem like she had a voice, and now she's kind of found her voice with her people as the Khaleesi, and obviously she doesn't want to give that up, and she's willing to do anything it takes to keep it around, that power around, especially doing the blood magic and keeping Khal Drogo from dying, which I was surprised by because I figured he was like a goner just because of the shape he was in, and the fact that it didn't look like it was ever going to get better. But I guess maybe it'll get better. It looks like it's working, maybe, for better or for worse. I was glad to see that guy die because he was such a jerk for like the whole series so far, really. I feel like there's going to be some sort of thing where she'll lose the baby because of some evil voodoo magic kind of hoopla, but at least it'll save Khal Drogo because he's Jason Momoa. He can't die off too early.
All right, Alyssa.
Kind of going off of what Tyler just said there, that's what I thought was going to happen to begin with. It's like the horse. I mean, I don't know.
That's
I thought
the
baby.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, they're gonna kill the baby. Like, okay, like
it would make
save
sense.
Khal Drogo. Like, yeah, I mean, like
horse.
So then the horse. I'm like, ugh. So I don't know. I wouldn't be, I guess, surprised if the black voodoo magic, whatever stuff, like affects this baby somehow, or the baby dies. It was kind of a little overly cliche, like, oh, now in this like horrible time, this bad situation, oh, now she's going into labor, of course. Like, but when else would she do it? I don't like Khal Drogo all that much. I imagine he's gonna get saved, but he's gonna be like a zombie. He's gonna be another White Walker or something. It's gonna be like Pet Cemetery. He's not gonna be the same. Like, I imagine the Khaleesi will have to kill him at some point. That's my guess. I don't know. With Creed killing his wife. So maybe I'm just disappointed that the horse died. I was like, I know that's like really screwed up that I'm like, oh yeah, kill the baby, but like
random horse death.
I don't know, like that, it would have been better writing. It would have been more impactful, right? And like then Daenerys,
if she had to make that choice between her child and then, her husband.
Well, I mean, she's doing it for her power is really the main thing.
Power.
But like, I don't know. It's
instead you get horse,
and then she'd be like, she wouldn't be burdened with this stupid thing. Like she could go. Khaleesi or go be like ruler and not have this stupid baby like Milk Boy 2.0. Like, I don't know.
Well, we've talked a little bit about predictions now, but next episode is our finale, the season finale. We'll leave off season 1. So we'll just pick up there. You were kind of spitballing. We also mentioned maybe he would come back as a horseman since they sacrificed a horse.
I don't know about that, but I mean, that
maybe he'll have clip clopping out of the tent.
Maybe the blood magic.
Khaleesi riding him with the baby.
Oh my gosh.
That would be an interesting sight.
Maybe he comes back with the mind of a horse. Maybe that's how the blood magic
works. He was already
works.
The wild stallion. He loves mounting things.
You want to be like,
about stallions. Maybe that was foreshadowing.
You want it to be like a Freaky Friday situation where they swap bodies.
Furthermore, Dothraki are also very suspicious people. They do not like the Miri Mazdur people because they deal with more magical things. They did not appreciate the black magic or the blood magic being brought around them and touching their call. So Daenerys has divided that Khalasar, regardless of what happens. They are all like, won't come to save the baby. They're mad. They're willing to go in there and start killing. And what would you say is your final prediction, Alyssa, for Daenerys, Khal Drogo, her baby, Dora, and all of the Dothraki we've met to finish off the
Uh,
season?
well, I don't know. Like the Dothraki are not going to be happy. I think if Khal Drogo survives either as a half horse person or not, like they're going to be like scared of him. I think they'll still like follow his orders just because they're like gonna be like, holy shit, he's like a horseman. But like, I don't know. And if he dies, then they're definitely not going to follow her. And so she'll take her little demon baby, whatever it becomes with this blood magic in the tent, and she'll go with, I
Right.
think it was, yeah. I don't know. I still think the dragon's gonna come in. Like I could see it going like two different ways. Like either Khal Drogo dies, and then she has some like not good stuff with the baby, and she has to run, or Khal Drogo lives, and she either does or does not have good stuff with the baby, and there's some horse mystical power, stallion power. I don't know. It's just
Oh,
the
yeah,
magic
power.
shit. I don't know.
Tyler?
As the stuff with Daenerys and Khal Drogo, I think that Khal Drogo is going to survive, just at least for now. Obviously, at least for this next episode, he'll still be alive, and he'll probably be up and I guess attempting to regain his strength and his power, depending on whatever the magic does. I don't know. I mean, I definitely could see the Dothraki being weary of him and being more scared, especially since he was like on the brink of death, and now he's back. Maybe they don't like that very much, and they'll maybe retaliate regardless. And maybe Khaleesi slash Daenerys will have to step in some way, or they'll still try and kill her just because they're angry. I mean, I think she'll lose the baby regardless of whatever weird magic they're doing. I think that we definitely should see the dragons in some shape or form in this last episode. Whatever, I don't know what they're gonna do, what purpose, if they'll just be babies or however big size they'll be when they're hatched. At least I'd like to see them at least in some
Yeah.
capacity before the end of the season.
I second that. I want some baby dragons.
So we're hoping for dragons next episode. Oh, we alluded to it earlier. Now that Ned is gone, how are your predictions shaping up with Robb and Catelyn with their new prisoner, Jaime Lannister, as they find out about this news and where they might end up by the end of the season? Tyler.
Depends on, will Catelyn and Robb find out that Joffrey murdered Ned? Because I feel like if they find out that, oh, you murdered Ned, maybe they'll be a little bit more angry when it comes to Jaime Lannister. Because I wouldn't be very happy if I found out, you think they could do an eye for an eye kind of thing, at least in some sense. I don't know if they'll straight up just kill him or like mutilate him in some way. I don't know, make him like Varys, make him like a eunuch or something. I don't know. As far as like stuff with that, I mean, I could definitely see more battles clashing. Whether we see them or not in the actual episode remains to be seen. But yeah, hopefully there's more battles. And we'll see, I guess, now that Joffrey's in power and everyone's going to probably be on edge when it comes to, they just watched Ned get decapitated in front of everyone. Sansa's obviously going to be very, very hurt because Joffrey went, and lied, and you just got to watch your dad's head get cut off in front of you. And obviously Arya's very upset as well, but she has a weapon, so I'm sure she'll probably try and use it at some point. But I guess we'll see if all that happens in the last episode or not. I could see it eventually happening.
Hi, Alyssa.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get too much like plot wise. I think we're just gonna mostly get like setup for stuff. Which I know is kind of counterintuitive. Usually you would think a season finale would have like a whole bunch of big things happening. So maybe something big will happen, but it seems like I don't know. I think most of these characters are not gonna find out by the next episode that Ned's been
No, I
killed. I
don't
mean, I
either.
guess ravens fly fast, but they're like shooting these little birds down. So like, I mean, who knows what messages are actually getting out? It might make Robb a little less strategic, and he's gonna do something stupid and maybe get killed or get a bunch of his 18,000 remaining guys killed. And with Sansa, she's an idiot. So like, I mean, like I don't know why she's surprised, why she looks shocked. I don't know why Cersei thinks this was some big surprise. Like we all knew that Joffrey was gonna be this like little asshole. So like Sansa though, she's not gonna be okay with it, but she's gonna still want to marry him. And Arya, she's gonna be spurred on. I don't know in what capacity. I don't think she's gonna do much in this next episode, but I think it's going to be a setup for her future. That she's gonna really have this like want to kill Joffrey thing. So I think Arya is gonna be the one that eventually kills Joffrey whenever that happens. I think Cersei's gonna be a little pissed at him, but like we were talking about a little earlier, I think she's gonna be more mad in terms of strategy. And she's gonna be like, "You're an idiot! Like you just brought down the wrath of Robb and everything." But then I don't know. I don't think it's gonna actually have that big of an impact because like King's Landing and all of them, they just have so much more power than all these other
So
little
how do you think she's gonna
towns.
react with that coupled if she finds out next episode or next season that Jaime is under the control of Robb?
Yeah, I think that would be a little upsetting to her. And plus, it's just all messed up because he's Joffrey's father. So it's like this whole like really screwed up thing. So
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
who?
all messed
I
up,
don't know.
honestly.
It's just this is like a weird ass show.
All right, Tyler. How do you think they'll finish off the season, that mother-son duo?
I definitely think that Cersei's going to be upset with Joffrey. I don't know to what level or what degree, but I mean, Joffrey's kind of an asshole. So I mean, he's not really. I don't. I think no matter what happens, he's still going to just be a defiant, annoying child, and he probably won't get his comeuppance because he's the king. So we'll just have to be angry with him getting no repercussions for killing Ned.
Then good old Jon, we left off with him in the balance. Do you have a prediction? Will he stay at the Night's Watch? Will he go and leave his duty up there to try to join up with Robb's army? Any guesses for where Jon will conclude his season, Tyler?
I think he should leave. I mean I think he should leave and go at least attempt to maybe help Robb. I don't know if he will or not, but he won't know about Ned, of course, probably. But I think it would be best if he, especially now that he knows, if he was going to go help Robb in some shape or form. Especially now that he's got that really cool sword. It almost seems perfect. Seems like a perfect reuse of his new sword, and everyone loves it. If he can go use it in the battle against Tywin Lannister's men.
Alyssa?
Yeah, I think he's gonna leave too. The sword is just too much foreshadowing not to leave. And so
Yeah.
I think he's gonna leave. Ghost is gonna go with him, and unfortunately, I think Sam is gonna go with him. He's either
Yeah.
gonna tag along or like he's gonna follow him or he'll try to stop him, but then he'll go with him. And like John's gonna be like, "No, you suck at fighting. Stay here." But unfortunately, I think we're gonna get a lot more Sam.
Predictions for Tywin, Tyrion, Bronn, Shae, and all of the mountain men of the world. Alyssa?
I think they're gonna be, I don't know, like I don't know if they're really gonna be proceeding to the next battle. I think they're gonna find out that Ned's dead pretty quickly. I hope Shay's still alive. I imagine she is, but like we don't see her after the fact, and like he's waking up very close to where he got knocked out, or we're assuming who knows how long he's been on that cart.
That's
So
true.
I'm hoping Shay's still alive, and assuming she is, I think we're gonna get some more background on her, and I think she and Tyrion might actually form an interesting bond. That they're gonna have this shared like shitty past and like have this kind of bonding moments, and they're
Bonding
actually
through
gonna
trauma.
like each other.
Tyler, what are your predictions for them?
I'm sure that they're going to be reeling from the battle, even though Tyrion didn't really take, a part in it. He kind of just got like beat over the head and was knocked out and carried away. They're going to reform and regroup, and they're going to probably be very unhappy when they find out that Jaime was captured. So they're probably going to retaliate in some shape or form. I don't know if it's going to be a very big battle or if we will see the battle. Hopefully we do, and hopefully it's a good battle if it's going to be the finale of season 1.
So, Alyssa, who are your tops and bottoms after episode 9?
Well, we all know I love Arya at this point, but she didn't really do much in this, and like I was hoping she was gonna be a little more proactive with Needle there. So she's still my top, but probably not for this episode, I guess. Like, 'cause she didn't really do all that much.
She definitely
Um,
ran to try to do something until she got
Yeah, I mean,
snatched up.
she managed to get really dirty, so that's impressive. She like snapped a pigeon's neck. Like, I mean, that was pretty
And then just
badass, I
left
guess.
it, killed the
I
pigeon
know, like
for no
eat the
reason.
pigeon, trade it, get your little lemon cake or whatever. I don't know. But she was okay. But I guess I don't know. Like, I guess Shae was probably my favorite character in this episode. Like,
the
I
whore.
don't know. Tyrion was good too. Jon was good too. He, like I said, he had the best like reaction. It was probably the funniest thing that we've had this whole season. So I did really enjoy that. He was just like, oh, okay,
all right,
that's my cue.
Get up out of here.
I'll just leave.
So bottom, Joffrey. I mean, he's a little asshole.
Yeah.
We've known that forever. The incest twins obviously still suck. I guess Jaime's the one that I dislike more at this point because Cersei was at least like, oh shit, don't kill Ned.
At least she showed she's not like a total idiot.
Yeah.
She's ruthless, but not an idiot.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I didn't I don't know, Khal Drogo just bugged me this episode. He wasn't terrible, he was dying.
He didn't even do anything.
I know, but I don't know.
He just laid there the
annoying.
whole episode.
The other Dothraki guy, he was a dick, so I didn't like him.
Alyssa decently liked Khal Drogo for one episode, and now she's like, nah, I'm done again.
Never mind.
He was kind of cool, ripping out a neck, but now that he's just laying there, I'm done. Throw him out.
Yeah, that's the best part. Yeah, taking trachea is fine, but
Tyler?
Falling off the characters in this episode, as far as my favorites, it would probably be Tyrion, as usual. He's usually always in the top 3 or 4 characters that I enjoy in the series. I really like the development with Robb in this episode. I like the fleshing out of his character. We're getting more of his personality and the way he, I guess, goes into battle and he's strategic. Bronn is really cool. I mean, Shae's fine, I guess, as a character, but she's not in my top. But as far as I guess as a show as a whole, I mean, Ned was always up there as well, but now he's dead, so it doesn't really matter.
Give a final shout out. I
gotta give him one final shout out, like I did with the other people that died. So he's there. Arya's, of course, great as well, but she hasn't really done a whole lot in a lot of these episodes. I mean, her scenes are memorable. It's just the fact that she's not really done all that much. But as far as least favorites, definitely Joffrey's number 1. As far as this episode goes, he would definitely be number 1, even with his small screen time because he killed Ned and lied and all of that terrible things that
stupid
Joffrey does.
Smug face with his crown.
I know, he was looking out at the crowd. It was I just want to
Yeah.
I hate him. Guy with giant sword who decapitated Ned. I will
Sir
give him
Ilyn?
Whoever that guy was, whoever he is definitely the second worst. Because of the fact that he killed Ned. Jimmy's always pretty bad, even though he didn't really do much besides get captured. Same with Cersei. Sansa's usually pretty bad. I mean, she's just
she sucks.
She's a very dumb character, so I mean, she has to be thrown in. And I mean, Varys is a character I don't like very much either, but he hasn't really given me as much a dislike besides Littlefinger. I mean, I don't like Littlefinger either, but he kind of was just standing in the background for one scene. So it wasn't really too much.
Varys did openly admit he could get Ned out of that cell and wasn't going to. So.
Yeah, I guess also to add in that Dothraki.
So happy he died finally.
Yeah, because he was terrible the last couple episodes, mouthing off, and now he finally got his comeuppance. I guess that also goes with I like Jorah Mormont in this episode. He's in the positives as well.
Because he killed
him.
He got the job done.
He got his armor on, and that's what helped.
All right. Well, that was episode 9. R.I.P. Ned in my notebook.
I agree. R.I.P. Ned. He was one of my favorite characters. Sean Bean always dies.
We knew it was coming.
We knew. in his contract once he signs, I must die somewhere in here.
Dying clause.
That was episode 9, Baelor of season 1 of Game of Thrones. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button down below. And of course, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our reactions or discussions. Alyssa, why don't you let everyone know where they can find you across the internet?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Mainly Movies.
All right, and Tyler?
You can find me on YouTube at Tyler Calvert and Twitter and Instagram at It's Tyler Calvert.
Perfect. And I think that will do it for us. So I love you all so much for your continued support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.